Okay, so first of all, right out the gate, I apologise in advance, but I didn't actually record any footage of the build itself at the time. This video wasn't actually originally planned. I will, however, do my best to walk you through the process, which is fairly straightforward, throughout the video, just in case you'd like to replicate this for yourself. So the desk that you're now seeing was originally intended just to be a temporary upgrade, and it still is, as I only currently have about 1.5 by 1 square meters-ish to work with in my current house. So I was waiting until I move into a bigger place to build myself a really nice place to work and game. Once the desk was finished though, I was really surprised by how nice it looks, especially considering that I spent very little money putting it together. Most of the items that I used were either from eBay or Amazon. There's a lot of eBay. I don't know why people don't talk about eBay more. Some absolute bargains. I put an image up on screen just showing how the desk originally looked, where I've been working and playing games for 2 or 3 years. I think you'll agree that the desk is now vastly improved. And also a side note, if we're factoring in the cost of the desk itself, I bought it about 2 years ago on eBay for about £40, dirt cheap. So we'll start with the backboard, as it's the most DIY part of the build. The backboard looks great and it's very simple to put together. It's made up of one sheet of 13mm thick MDF that I then had to cut down slightly across the length so that it would fit the desk. The two sides of the backboard are just two 20 by 20mm sections of pine. Obviously you can use any sizes that you want, but the frame of my desk measures 20mm by 20mm, and I wanted it to tie in with the frame of the desk so it almost looks like it was supposed to be there. I then capped the top of the backboard using one section of L-shaped corner trim made of pine. Pine is very cheap and easy to source, so it just made sense to use it. Again, obviously you can use any material that you want, any dimensions that you want. If you decide to go down this route, just bear in mind the overhang of your top trim needs to allow enough clearance for your acoustic panels and also the LEDs. I actually underestimated mine a little bit and it came very close to being too tight. So once I'd sourced all the materials, it was a simple case of cutting everything to size and fitting it together. I used a combination of Gripple, which is a general purpose adhesive for skirting boards and general DIY tasks, and just a couple of small screws. All of these materials can be sourced either online very cheaply or from your local hardware place. There's nothing fancy here, there's nothing difficult to find. I found all of the timber that I needed at B&Q in about 10 minutes. So once all the sections had been fitted together, I gave the entire thing 2 coats of black paint. Once those layers of paint had dried, I then began fitting the acoustic panels, which was self-adhesive. Super easy. Once I'd fitted the acoustic panels, I then drilled a 10mm hole up in the top right hand corner. This hole allows me to pass the cables for the LEDs through and out the back, keeping all the cables out of sight. I did then decide that I wanted to mount 2 small speakers to the backboard as well. To do this I made 2 small shelves using 0.9 steel. I then decided where exactly I wanted to place the speakers and traced around them. Drilled a hole through the backboard for the cables to run through, again keeping them out of sight behind the board. I then cut the acoustic panel to allow the shelf to fix to the back, screwed it in place, job done. Obviously I appreciate that not everybody has access to sheet metal and CNC, but small shelves like this can be sourced online very cheaply, or you could even make them out of timber very easily. Once I'd mounted the speakers into the shelves, the backboard was complete. One of the upsides to having a back panel is that you're actually able to hide all of the cables on your desk. To do this I simply fitted a small cable tray to the back of the backboard, and all of the many cables that I have on this desk run down through a hole in the desk in the top left corner and into a cable tray. There are only 2 cables visible on the desk and I'm pretty content with that, one being the keyboard, which is a Logitech G413, and the other being my phone charger. I could have opted for a wireless keyboard like I have done in the past, but the Logitech is such a nice keyboard and it's an absolute bargain in my opinion at about £40, so I was willing to live with the cable being visible. The mouse that I currently use is just a generic wireless mouse. It cost me about £5 on eBay. It's not great, but given that I don't use it for gaming, I'm not currently desperate to replace it. Although when I do, I'll likely replace it for a Logitech Superlight. It's a solid little wireless mouse that is pretty reasonably priced these days. In terms of lighting, this was done incredibly cheaply, using one 1 meter length of LED strip at the top of the backboard, and one 2 meter length of LED strip on the underside of the desk. All in all, this cost me about £10. These LED strips can be bought on eBay, on Amazon, on AliExpress for just a few dollars, and have a wide range of colour options, but I'm really enjoying the cool white overall at the moment. Or maybe the orange, or the purple. Both the wrist rest and the desk pad that I'm using were both purchased on eBay as well, and both were less than £10 each. I was honestly expecting both these items to be low quality given the price, but I was very wrong. Both look and feel great, and I'd expect to pay 2 to 3 times more for these, especially if I'd picked them up on Amazon instead. The same products are literally on Amazon for 2 to 3 times the price, just to bear in mind. The speakers, very small and simple, but with a solid sound quality, which is all I really wanted from them. I wasn't expecting much obviously given the size, something just to have some music quietly on in the background while I work or game. These particular speakers were also purchased on eBay, have a wood effect that matches the desk and also come in at under £10. Given the sound quality and the look, I'd say it's a pretty good bargain. For storage, I picked up a small side table from Amazon this time, again very cheaply. It provides enough storage for batteries, charge cables and such, and also pretty closely matches the wood on the desk as well. So the headset bracket that I use, I did actually make using sheet metal, but these can be picked up for very little on eBay and Amazon these days. Just search for under desk headset bracket and you'll find one, almost certainly for under £10, or you can get creative and make your own. There are also a couple of miscellaneous items on the desk, such as fake plants which I picked up a while ago from a hardware store, and a really cool little USB hub that I found on Amazon that actually clamps to the underside of the desk. A cushioned footrest that makes sitting at the desk much more comfortable. It's quite surprising actually. Once you start using one you realise how much more comfortable it really is. And a simple phone charger stand for convenience. I'll add any links that I can find into the video description below, just so if you are interested in any of these products you can find them. Lastly, monitors. I found several companies on eBay that sell reconditioned monitors, along with dual stands as a bundle for a very fair price. The prices do vary a great deal, although that does depend on your needs, so if you're thinking about going down this route, I would recommend having a good look around at prices and feedback first, but there are absolutely some brilliant bundles and really good prices. These monitors are obviously not 4K or anything special, but a 1080p HD with 60Hz refresh rate is plenty good enough for working, and it's still decent enough for gaming for the time being. As I said, this is my temporary setup. I will be moving later on in the year, and when I do, I have plans to build a very special desk, which I will record, and when I do this I will be making significant upgrades to the tech on my desk as well, because I do also plan to build my first gaming PC, which I'm very much looking forward to. I have my laptop mounted under the desk to save on space, and the Xbox is sat on the TV stand across the room. I could move it closer to the desk now, or even on the desk, but I'll save that for another day. But that pretty much covers it. Hopefully this video has helped to show you that you can create a pretty great little setup for yourself on a tiny budget, especially if you only have a tiny amount of space to work with. Again, my setup is crammed into a space that is 1.5 by 1 meter square at most, so even if you have a tiny amount of room you can do something nice with it. Hopefully it's just showed you that you can have a cable-free, organised, comfortable place to play games that's well lit, looks cool, a place that you're happy to sit at. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by leaving a like and subscribing. Thanks for watching.